Oh, I remember you.
Yes, that's right, Peter Serapherifrix. I'm Eurogamer's YouTube editor, Ian Hickton. I was just about to show some gameplay of Dark Souls 2, a game that you is in a bit.
Thank you very much. I will return the favour one day.
Damn straight you will, Serafinda Dinkerwix. Anyway, fellow ginger beard owner and Eurogamer's features editor Martin Robinson went to play some Dark Souls 2 the other day, and he returned with the 1,000-yard stare of a man who's experienced unspeakable horrors. Oh, and he brought all this gameplay back as well. Now, have you been worried about Dark Souls 2? After some of the murmurings around its release, maybe that's fair enough. The original director has moved aside, and one of the directors taking his place spoke of a more understandable, simpler game upon the sequel's first reveal. Dark Souls fans don't want simple or understandable, though. They want to be smashed into smithereens by big hammer-wielding bastards, and to pick themselves up off the floor after the umpteenth failed fight with Smorg and Ormstein, before excitedly running back to do it all over again. A funny breed, the Dark Souls fan. Still, if you are one, you'll be pleased to know that while Dark Souls 2 might be a little easier to understand, it's certainly no easier to survive. Martin thinks he set a record at the press event when he stupidly started a fight with an innocent-looking rat dog when he was armed with nothing more lethal than his fists. It didn't end well, but his swift death was soothed by a little sense of achievement as he unlocked the game's first trophy, called This is Dark Souls. It's a proper statement of intent and should be more than enough to stop you worrying. This is Dark Souls as brutal and brilliant as you remember it. You'll die, lots, and there's no end of savage challenges lying in wait. There are hollowed soldiers ready to pounce and catch you unawares, massive beasts that look like a disturbing mix between a rhino and a toddler, and a boss that looks like an S&M doll made out of wattle and daub. Quite simply, it's more of everything that you've loved about Dark Souls. Things have changed though, and it's hard to say right now whether the changes are for better or for worse. Dark Souls 2's online is more approachable. There's voice chat, and by aligning yourself with certain in-game gods, you're now able to summon friends to fight alongside you with a little more ease. But some might argue that some of the purity of the original has been lost. You can now travel between bonfires from the offset, but does that mean you'll lose some of the intimacy you had with the world in the other Souls games? The health system is a little more forgiving, with life gems complementing the flasks of old, something balanced out by the fact that you lose a little more of your overall life bar every time you die. Is it better than the herbs of Demon Souls or the simplicity of Dark Souls Estus flasks? It's still too early to tell.
Hello there. Travelling all alone in these treacherous times. Well, I hope you have a very good reason.
This is Dark Souls alright, but it's a very different game to its predecessor, as much of a departure as the original was from Demon Souls. Years later, and many people still aren't decided on which was the better of the two, and that's a matter which is likely to only get more muddled when Dark Souls 2 enters the fray. The world of Drangleic isn't quite as bleak as Boletaria or Lordran, but it offers up its own sights and wonders, an eerie beachside village where merchants offer up their wares, or the confusing tangle of a crumbling castle that sits in the middle of the forest of fallen giants. It's not the same as the last Dark Souls, but then who'd really want that? It's another devilishly hard game set in a rich fantasy world, and from what we've all seen so far, it's unlikely to disappoint. Make sure to give this channel a subscribe if you're after more Dark Souls 2 coverage. I'm sure Martin will find the strength to bring us some more new info. Once he's stopped crying like a little baby, that is. Oh, and head on over to our Twitch channel as well and give that a follow, because as soon as we can get our hands on a copy, I'll be trying my hand at Dark Souls 2 in a live stream or two. What? Ha 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 ha?